Hello everyone and welcome to Ebro Africa Primetime News on this 24th day of April 2014. We have a lot lined up for you, but first, the headlines. Escalation in terror. Police in Kenya impound an abandoned vehicle near a police station where 4 people died after a blast. Beefing up security in Kenya. Stern warning to criminals as 1,500 GSU recruits graduate in Kenya's capital, Nairobi. South Sudan's President Riot Act. South Sudan's President Salva Kiir fires military chief. Palestinian reconciliation. Rival Palestinian factions Fatah and Hamas agreed to form a government of national unity. Many thanks for joining us. I'm Sam Gakunyi. In our top story, bomb experts have impounded a vehicle that was suspected to have explosives in Kenya's Eastleigh estate. The vehicle, which according to witnesses was left outside a residential building last night by 2 unknown people, raised suspicion among the members of the public who reported the issue to the police. Ebro Africa News reporter Agnes Gakunga was at the scene and brings us the following story.
Just hours after a car bomb exploded at Pangani police station in Kenya's capital Nairobi, killing 4 people, among them 2 police officers, bomb experts have impounded a vehicle that was suspected to be carrying explosives.
The vehicle looked more suspicious because it was just parked there and nobody came to claim about ownership. So good members of public gave this information to the police.
And after an operation that took several hours, nothing was found inside the car. Though according to Nairobi Deputy Police Commander Moses Ombati, police have received some lead which will help in their investigations.
We have gone through the vehicle, we have checked, and we are satisfied that the vehicle is or doesn't have any danger. Though the signs that the vehicle could have been used to carry materials related with explosives is there because of other investigative methods that was done by officers.
Police who were at the scene have refuted claims that the car is linked to last night's blast.
This is a different scene. The yesterday's scene is also its own, so we cannot connect the two as of now.
The vehicle, according to witnesses, was left by 2 unknown people last night, hours after a blast occurred at the gate of Pangani police station. The blast claimed 4 lives, among them 2 police officers. The officers had intercepted a saloon car at about 8 p.m. at the nearby Pangani roundabout in the area and decided to board it. The car was extensively damaged following the blast. Police have in the past days been rounding up suspects in a major swoop aimed at restoring security. Now, such scenes are raising many questions about Kenya's security situation, even at a time when the government is carrying out an intensive security operation to flush out all illegal migrants. Agnes Gakunga, Ebro Africa News in Eastleigh Estate.
Kenya has had a series of terror attacks since 1998 when the US embassy in the country was bombed. Since then, the government has done much in the fight against terror. Most of the terrorists are believed to be from the Al-Shabaab group, but since the Kenya Defense Forces joined the AMISOM in Somalia to help bring peace, the Al-Shabaab retaliated by carrying out sporadic terror attacks on the Kenyan soil. We now look at the chronology of these terror acts, and the question that now lingers is Will the fight against terror come to an end soon?
Kenya started experiencing the first major terror attack in 1998, where the United States Embassy was bombed, leaving hundreds of people killed in simultaneous bomb explosions. In 2002, a Mombasa hotel was bombed. The blast occurred just after some 60 visitors had checked into the hotel, all of them from Israel.
So my point of contact.
On 4th January 2013, 2 people were killed and 7 wounded in a grenade attack at Tagali area in Garissa. The grenade was hurled from a saloon car at a tent where people were chewing cat. On January 7, 2013, a grenade was thrown into a police vehicle as it drove past a crowd along Gamia Road near the local district officer's office. On the evening of 9th January 2013, 2 grenades were thrown into the World Food Programme compound in Mandera town. There were no injuries reported. The blast occurred as a group of worshippers were leaving a nearby mosque after their prayers. On 16th January, suspected militants shot dead 5 people and injured 3 others at a restaurant in the eastern city of Garissa. 2 men believed to be suicide bombers of Somali origin died on the morning of 17th January 2013 after improvised explosive devices went off in Hajera refugee camp in Dadaab. On 31st January, a blast injured 3 Kenyan policemen in the Gahali area of the northern town of Dadaab. On 2nd February, a KDF soldier was killed in a blast in Wajir after a terrorist who appeared to know him hurled a grenade at the man and his girlfriend. The officer was among several people on a break from the coordinated Linda Inchi operation in southern Somalia between the Somali military and Kenyan forces against the Al-Shabaab insurgents. On the evening of 18th April, 4 armed men walked into the Kwachegi Hotel in Garissa and started shooting, killing at least 6 people and leaving others seriously wounded. On 9th June, nearly simultaneous evening attacks in Eastleigh, Nairobi and Likoni, Mombasa left at least 15 people injured. On the 21st September 2013, armed gunmen attacked an upscale shopping mall in Nairobi, killing at least 60 people and injuring more than 150. On 13th December 2013, double blast in the northeastern town of Wajir killed 1 individual and wounded at least 3 other people. On 14th December 2013, a hand grenade was thrown onto a minibus in Eastleigh. The Saturday evening explosion killed at least 4 people and wounded 36 others. It was the 4th such attack to occur during the 50th anniversary week of Kenya's independence. In the year 2014, 3 attackers hurled a grenade into the Tandoori bar in the Kenyan resort town of Diani, south of the port city of Mombasa, wounding 10 people in the 2nd of January. In March, a pair of explosions killed 6 people in Eastleigh estate. 2 gunmen were later to storm a parked church near the Kenyan coastal city of Mombasa and killed 3 people. Yesterday, a car bomb exploded outside a police station in the Kenyan capital, Nairobi, killing 4 people.
Moving on, the Kenyan government says it will not relent in its war against terrorism. Speaking during a General Service Unit pass-out parade, President Uhuru Kenyatta led top government officials in warning criminals and terrorists that the officers of the law will certainly come after them. Aneta Kisa brings us this story from Embakasi.
As 1,500 General Service Unit recruits graduated today, top government officials addressed the country's major headache, insecurity. They gave stern warnings to terrorists and other criminals. President Uhuru Kenyatta urged Kenyans to give his government time to deal with insecurity, saying they are addressing what could be the root cause, unemployment.
Tunajua ya kwamba vijana wengi wako na shida mbalimbali za kazi.
We know most youth are unemployed, and that is why they are attracted to such criminal activities.
Mimi nataka niwahakikishie ya kwamba serikali yetu juu chini tunafanya.
We as the government are going to do everything possible to ensure the youth are employed.
Kuhakikisha ya kwamba vijana hawa wameweza kupata kazi ambaye itaboresha maisha yao.
And as the government promised to go on with security operations across the country, Interior Cabinet Secretary Joseph Olelenko said they will also deal with corrupt immigration officials who have been giving travel and identification documents to criminals.
I want to send a message clear that all officers responsible for this process, starting from the assistant chiefs to the issuing officers, will be held accountable for any identification document that land in the wrong hands, and will be taken appropriate actions against them according to the law.
And that I will discharge all the duties of a police officer.
Deputy President William Ruto promised to improve the working conditions of police officers.
There is a robust security policy that will ensure that our security officers have access to better housing, modern equipment, better transport, and better terms of service.
Thank you, Excellency!
The president assured that the ongoing security operations dubbed Usalama Watch was not targeting any community or religion as speculated, saying insecurity was greatly affecting the country's economy.
That this is not a war against any religion, nor against any community. This is a war against criminals who would do harm to their fellow Kenyans. This is a war against those who seek to rain terror on Kenyans and who seek to make Kenyans live in fear. And this we shall not accept.
Well, this ceremony comes at a time when criminals and terrorists have made this country their playground. But top government officials have come together today in one voice, sending a stern warning to terrorists that they will not relent in the war against terror. For Ebro Africa News, I am Annette Akisa in Nairobi.
Earlier on, I had a chat with security expert George Musamali on what should be done to restore security in the country. Here is an excerpt from the interview.
Now, the country, basically right now, we are having what everybody is calling a failure from the side of the government. Is that the case, and where is the government failing?
When it comes to matters of terrorism, I can't say that we can attribute that to government failure in addressing this matter. I think the government has really tried all efforts to make sure that the country is secured from terror attacks. But remember, terrorism right now is becoming a global war, and the Kenyan situation is becoming complicated because now it's becoming transnational. Like, for example, when we had Westgate, we had people from different nationalities. We had even people from Europe. So basically, it's like Europe is exporting terror to Kenya. But I think the efforts of the government are not enough because I believe we are using the wrong strategy in tackling this menace. For example, we are always using knee-jerk reactions whenever we have an attack, and that is why immediately after Westgate, the government came up with a new strategy which they called Manyumba Kumi, that I believe up to now Kenyans have realized it's not working. And after Likoni, we had swaps that were announced by the police operations that started targeting Eastleigh, where we have a majority of the Somali community living, and now this has been extended throughout the country. I don't think that is the right thing to do. We are using the wrong strategy, and this is what I think the government should look at.
You say the government should look at the strategies they're using to fight terrorism.
Yeah.
In your profession as a security analyst, what do you think are the best strategies, maybe that have worked in other countries, that the government should look into in fighting terrorism in Kenya?
I think the best strategy is what we call collection of intelligence. Yeah, we have the National Intelligence Services that has the role of collecting intelligence, both criminal, economic, and social, and then handing over their finding to the relevant agencies. For example, if they collect criminal intelligence, this is supposed to be handed over to the police so that the police can take action. Remember, The National Intelligence Services right now does not have police powers and they do not have arresting powers. So the right people to do this are the police. So I believe there is a disconnect between the collection of intelligence and the actual operations that are being carried out by the police currently. Also, we should look at having what we refer to in security as popular intelligence. What is popular intelligence? Involving members of the public in matters of the security, making the public aware about the enormity of the situation and what role the members of the public can play in assisting police fight terrorism. But at the moment, you'll find that members of the public are not working with the police. There's a lot of mistrust between the two. And this is actually what is bringing problems. And it has led to the governments now starting using systems like the operations that is being currently carried out throughout the country in fighting terrorism. I think we are failing in that way. And I believe this has to do a lot with the kind of officers that we have on the ground. After Westgate, you saw how the operation was bungled. Yesterday, I happened to visit the scene of the blast, and I saw exactly the confusion that was there at Westgate. Multiple agency response, but no command. And we ended up interfering with the scene of crime. Even if now we pretend that we're going to conduct forensic investigation, nothing will be gotten out of that. So I still believe nothing much has happened. There's no change after Westgate. And yesterday was a clear indication of where we're headed to in terms of security. And I also tend to think that the officers on the ground, there's some form of laxity. I think it's just normal. Everything has become so routine. And you remember in security, we say that routine is a threat to security. So we need to also improve on the quality of training that we're giving these police officers. Apart from the normal police work, we should tell them now the situation is different, the environment is different, we are dealing with terrorism, and this is how terrorists operate, and this is the procedure that you need to follow anytime you encounter a person you suspect to be a terrorist. And we can attribute all the problems in security currently to three things. Very dangerous combination when it comes to matters of security. Number one, in Kenya, we have the problem of corruption. Corruption is a major issue in terms of security. We have the second bit is tribalism. Yeah, we bring in tribalism in matters of security, and then most dangerous, politics. So the combination of three is a disaster. And this is exactly what is in play in Kenya right now. So if we want at all to improve the security of the country, let us delink matters of security from politics, let us deal away with tribalism, and let us handle corruption in the police service. Otherwise, we will be fighting a losing battle.
Now to South Sudan, and South Sudan's President Salva Kiir has fired the head of the army. A decree read out on state television announced that General James Hoth-May would be removed with immediate effect. General Paul Malong was named as the new general head of staff.
With no official reason given for the removal of Gen Mai, analysts say the military has suffered several setbacks in the north of the country in recent days. The new development came as the United Nations Security Council members said they are considering sanctions on South Sudan's warring parties. United Nations peacekeeping chief Hervé Ladsou had demanded serious consequences to force an end to the violence.
The first, from my part, is that we are not and cannot be in a business as usual format. I think this cycle of violence that started on the 15th of December last year has to stop. It must stop immediately. Yet, we see that neither party is ready to in any way cease the hostilities. The agreement on that, which was signed exactly to this day, 3 months ago, has never been implemented. They do not give indication that they sincerely want to participate in the peace talks. So
Ladsou said the international community cannot be in the business as usual format with regards to the South Sudan situation.
The United Nations is doing everything it can to protect the civilians that are fleeing the violence, the war. But let us never forget that the primary responsibility for protect civilians is with the government. We are there to support, but it is the government of South Sudan to make it so that its citizens are not killed.
Last week, rebels slaughtered hundreds of civilians when they seized the South Sudan oil hub of Bentiu. Joy Ogu, the United Nations ambassador and the current council president, said that most council members in the meeting had suggested using the principle of deterrence to send a message to the parties responsible.
Most of us suggested using the principle of deterrence to send a message unequivocally to the parties responsible for this impunity that it must not happen again. The responsibility of every nation state is to protect its citizens and maintain order within its territory. And we stress the inviolability of UN institutions resident in the member state countries, that they can violate the sanctity of the UN institution and kill people inside those institutions. It's intolerable. It should not happen.
The United Nations mission to South Sudan, known as UNMISS, has approximately 8,500 military peacekeepers and police deployed in a country the size of France with a population of some 11 million.
Moving on, around 400 kilometers from the restive capital Bangui, Muslim and Christians live together in peace under the protection of Seleka Muslim forces, though some dreams of dividing the country has led some to design a new flag in case of secession.
It is a model of peace in an otherwise troubled country. Bambari is Central African Republic's second largest town, which is now under the protection of the Muslim Seleka force. They pride themselves here in defending both Christians and Muslims alike from any attack.
The anti-Balaka are the problem. From the beginning of the rebellion, they attack only the civilian population. They're not fighting the army, but the population. They kill civilians all the way to Bangui, despite the Seleka being kept in the barracks. And the Michael Jutodia's resignation, they have continued to massacre the population. Up to the present day, it's only the civilians they are killing. So they are the ones who want to be the part of the partition. We can't accept any case of the partition of this country. Never.
Muslims in this dusty town at the heart of the Central African Republic are tentatively embracing a radical solution to the threat of religious violence from militia's partition. Young people in Bambari are circulating a design for a new flag from cell phone to cell phone for what they say will be called the Republic of Northern Central Africa.
Maintenant, on vous parle, c'est depuis la République de la Centrafrique du Nord.
We want to talk about the Republic of Northern Central Africa. The partition itself has already been done. Now there only remains the declaration of independence. You saw even the colors of the new flag. And this new flag will be the only flag of this secular republic.
L'unique drapeau de cette république laïque.
Residents say Bambari is a place where Christians and Muslims live in harmony, and that stands in stark contrast to the capital Bangui, around 300 kilometers southwest and the west.
I ask the population of Bangui to take note of the example set by Bambari, where Christians and Muslims live side by side. We don't understand what's going on down there in Bangui. I don't know. But here in Bambari, we are all together.
The chances of achieving partition are, however, virtually zero, since the interim government has displaced the idea, as have French and UN peacekeepers.
Let's go down to South Africa. Nobel Peace Laureate Desmond Tutu has celebrated 20 years of freedom in South Africa as a heck of an achievement, while confirming that he would not vote for the ruling party in the upcoming